celebrating 17 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and this is Anything is Possible. And if ever there was a story of possibility, Glenn Jacobs is that story of possibility. He is the mayor of Knox County now. He is a WWE superstar, and he's here today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Hal. I'm thrilled to be here. I appreciate it.
So I met you many years ago, and we would have these interesting political conversations. You were very interested and intrigued with politics. We would talk economics. And the first time I had a conversation with you, you are still a professional wrestler, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you are still a professional wrestler. So I'm thinking we're going to have this wrestling conversation, and you start talking, and you sound to me like 3 parts college professor and 1 part wrestler. And so I'm like, wow, this guy's different. So we'd have these conversations. And I remember asking you, I said, are you interested in politics? In fact, you hosted my radio show a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you said, I am. And lo and behold, you decide to put your hat in the ring to become the next mayor of Knox County. And I gotta say, nobody saw you coming. What in the world happened? I mean, you're a big guy,
right,
but nobody saw you coming.
You know, it's interesting because I would talk to people after the election, and they would tell me, yeah, no one thought you could win. I'd be like, really? It's like, I didn't think the other guys had a chance. You know, I thought I was the front runner all along. And I think that shows you that really there's so many things in life that are a matter of perspective. Mm. And often the people that are the closest, the people that are in the inside, that are in the bubble, don't see the world around them. And that's a problem in politics, actually, because we see it all the time in Washington, D.C. You know, we have people that are in the bubble, and the only people that they talk to are each other, and they have no idea what's going on outside the place. Unfortunately, we see it sometimes, in cyberspace, we see it in Twitter. You know, Twitter is the worst form of tribalism because people get into their bubble and they're rewarded for appealing only to their tribe, right? And they get more follows and retweets by saying things that they would never ever say to another human being if they were actually talking to that person. But because they're talking to people that are inside of their bubble, that's what they say. And that's kind of amazing to me, a different conversation, but how despite the fact that we're more connected than we've ever been before,
we're disconnected.
We're disconnected.
So how did you know?
How did I know?
Knew you were interested in serving in that way, but how did you know that you would have traction? How'd you know? Because you said, I really did think it's possible to win.
Oh, I didn't only think it was possible. I thought I was going to from the beginning, or I wouldn't
really?
Have I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I was going to win. You know, and for me, it was just a matter of executing, and I knew that I'd have to do that differently than other people would. You know, I wasn't an established political entity, an established politician, but that's also why I knew that I could win. Because people are looking for something different nowadays, and I could take advantage of that. But I think if I'd been on the inside looking out, this guy doesn't have a chance. But with me on the outside looking around, I was like, yeah, I can win this thing really easily. So, just looking at all the different variables and the things that were involved. And in the end, man, it just comes down to, your intuition. Right. And just believing that you can do something and knowing that you can do it. It's, believing's one thing. But when you actually know it, that you really can do it, and you feel that, all you have to do is just take the appropriate steps and things will fall in place, that's when things work.
Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, I want to talk about this journey. I want to talk about the distance between believing and knowing and how or what closes that gap. He is now the mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs. More in a moment on Anything is Possible.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
I was wrestling people like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've been in the ring with Drew Carey and all these other people. How I grew up on a farm in rural Missouri. How could that happen?
You said in our last segment that there's a difference between believing you can win. This is what this show is all about. And by the way, one of the messages this year is if there's something you believe you're supposed to do, that you believe is possible, go do it. The difference between believing and knowing, how do you close that gap?
If we could back up for just a second. I grew up on a farm in rural Missouri, in northeast Missouri. I had some things happen in my life that I ended up in a live performance in front of 100,000 people at one point. I was wrestling people like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've been in the ring with Drew Carey and all these other people. How I grew up on a farm in rural Missouri. How could that happen? You know, seriously, I'm not special. I don't have, I have certain talents, but we all have those. We all have unique gifts and talents. Okay, I think it is that idea that once you put your mind to something, you can do it. And the confidence in knowing that you can do it, and the confidence in yourself that you will do it, and I tell, especially.
But where did you get that? Did somebody give it to you? Is it just something that is native to you? Is it something that you absorbed by being raised a certain way? Where did you get that?
I don't know. I think it's something. I think it's a mindset, really, and I don't know where that comes from. But when I talk to young people all the time, I tell them that the thing that separates people who achieve their goals, I don't want to say people who are successful, because success can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and all too often it just means monetary success, and it's a lot bigger than that. But the thing that separates people who achieve their goals from people who don't is the people who achieve their goals, they just don't give up. You're that story. I know your story, and you're the same way. They just don't give up until they accomplish what they've set out to do, and that can be hard-headedness. That can be, sometimes it's stubbornness. But nevertheless, you just don't give up, and it's that persistence and determination, and it really is that ability to see yourself having achieved the goal and put yourself where you want to be ahead of time, and then just taking the steps necessary to get there. And I know that sounds strange and it sounds weird, but when I look back at my life, that's exactly how that's exactly how I've been able to do the stuff that I've been able to do. And of course, if you read about people who are just massively successful, that's the thing that they share in common, is that, many of them, they're not there by blind luck. They're there because they had a plan, and they said, if I take these steps, I'm already here. But to get there, I just have to take these steps to fulfill that.
When you won, what did Vince McMahon say to you? Did you talk to him?
I talked to him beforehand. He was very happy. He likes to see us do well in all of our endeavors.
What'd you learn from him?
Is that persistence, and just sticking with your game plan, and not being afraid to take a risk. I mean, I think that's really underrated when you look at him. The fact that, he's been one of those people that's been massively successful, but on the other side of things, he could be absolutely broke at this point, because he took risk in which he gambled his entire company on things. And they turned out okay because he took a calculated risk, but, the odds were in his favor. But if he'd played it cautiously, he'd have never gotten to where he is.
You seem different. The guy that I'm talking to today, better different.
Thanks. Thanks.
But you seem more relaxed. You seem more open.
That's probably true. I think that has a lot to.
What has happened?
I think it's probably just maturity, and realizing, realizing my life is out there, and you and I have talked, but we're both introverts. Right.
Right.
We both are. And
right.
it's very ironic because we're both in fields where you have to be an extrovert and often where you have to fake it until you make it in that respect. And to this day, my tendency is, man, I don't want to do that. I just want to stay home. I want to read a book. If I go to a social function, I want to stand in the corner. I don't want to stand in the middle of the room. But the thing is, I always find that it's very rewarding, when I go out there and
to reach out.
Yeah, I find that the most rewarding thing, and I found that building relationships is the most rewarding thing that you can do in your life, more than anything else. And those, that's what's going to carry you through. And I've also, I also have faith in myself at this point, and faith in God that I have the tools that, I'll make it no matter what, and because I have been able to do things. And that's given me the confidence that I can go on, and the confidence that, that God loves me and wants me to succeed like he does all people, I think.
Let's talk about your vision.
I think he does. I know that.
Let's talk about your vision for the county.
Sure.
You're mayor now. You're leading now.
Sure.
What's it been like, and what's your vision for our community?
It's been a blast. It's been the most fun thing I've really ever done. There are so many great people and so many things that are happening, and I've learned so much about our community. And I realize that we have a massive amount of potential here that's just waiting to be unleashed. When I look at the things that we have and the assets that we have here that no other community has, especially where the global economy is going. We have the University of Tennessee, which is a first-rate research and development institution. We have the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in our backyard, the world's leading research lab. They have their manufacturing demonstration facility, which is in Knox County off Hardin Valley Road. TVA, which is, we think of them as an electricity company, but their primary mandate is actually economic development within the Tennessee Valley. When you put that package together, no one can match it. We got more brain power here, and we have more research and development capabilities here than Silicon Valley ever dreamed of. We have more than the Research Triangle has. And when you look at where the global economy is going and the changes that are evolving very rapidly, we have the potential here, I think, to do some things that could really, our region could explode and become known as the high-tech research and development capital of the world, which would be incredible.
Do you like being a leader? Do you like? You said this is the most fun thing you've ever done.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. And the idea that you are having influence, and when people talk about power, influence is power.
Yeah,
that's really what it's all about. And of course, it should be used to help everybody. But knowing that you have influence, and knowing that you have a vision and you can push things in a direction, and realizing it's a challenge, though, because when we think of leadership, often we think of someone behind pushing everybody and punishing them, and that style of leadership. That doesn't work. A leader is someone who is able to form a consensus, who has a vision, is able to form a consensus, is able to articulate that vision so that everybody sees that it's what's good for everybody and everybody agrees with it. And then the leader gets out ahead and pulls. He's like a magnet. He pulls people along with him, and that can be challenging, but it's very rewarding. It's very worth it.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to conclude by you giving me, if you were writing a book about possibility, right? How you maximize your possibility. And I would love for you to give me a couple of chapter titles. And I need for you to explain a burger.
All right. That sounds good.
More with the mayor in just a moment on Anything is Possible.
Coming up.
I think that goes back to failure. You're going to fail. If I look back in my life and it's a lot more defined by my failures than it is my successes.
I just think back to these conversations we had publicly and privately, and then watching you tee it up and knock it down. Welcome, and thank you for being here. So you're learning about leadership. This is your first elected office.
Sure.
Right? I don't think it'll be your last. The first time you told me you might have interest in politics, I called you Mr. Mayor or something on my radio show, and you laughed, you chuckled, but inside you're like, yeah, I'm pretty much gonna be.
Well, I don't know about that at that time.
But today when you walked in, I said, Mr. President.
Well, I certainly don't know about that.
You want some of this?
No, I don't think so.
All right,
That's a totally different ball game, man.
So let me ask you this: if you were writing a book about maximizing your possibilities in life, give me some chapter titles.
Believe in yourself. Know that you can do it, and don't give up. And know that there is someone that's looking out for you, and how you treat other people, and everybody has a gift. This is a long chapter title, sorry about that. But everybody has a gift. The secret is learning what your gift is and learning how to use that gift to benefit other people.
Right. So you might throw a 95, 98 mile an hour fastball, but can you put it where it needs to go so you strike the guy out?
Right.
It's not just the speed; it's the accuracy.
Exactly.
It's how you use the gift.
Yeah.
Let me.
That's exactly it. And how will it bring people excitement and joy to watch you throw that ball and strike that guy out?
Right.
Yes.
What is your best move as a wrestler?
My best move,
Yeah.
it's the choke slam, which is the audience likes, my opponent not so much. But
So if you do a choke slam, there's a right way and a wrong way.
There is a right way and a wrong. If you execute it correctly, everybody's okay. Yes.
So I wanted to ask you this. You said believe in yourself. That was your first chapter title. Is belief in yourself something that you can learn?
Yes.
You don't have to be born with that.
No.
So mark a pathway to greater belief in yourself.
Well, I think that goes back to failure. You're going to fail. I mean, if I look back in my life and it's a lot more defined by my failures than it is my successes. I mean, I was playing college football. I wanted to play in the NFL, completely blew my knee out. I looked like I was primed. I was going, man. Completely blew my knee out. Went to the Chicago Bears camp. I was there for one day. I went in, did all the physicals and everything, went to bed that night, thought that I was going to get to practice and prove that I could play in the NFL the next day. And the next day when I was getting off the bus, everybody else went to the practice facility. I went upstairs to the director of player personnel office and was given a plane ticket home. I was in my early 20s. And I was devastated because all my life, man, I wanted to be a professional athlete. Those guys are on the, I was a big St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan, but I was a terrible baseball player, but the Cardinals were on the cover of Sports Illustrated and that was just what I always wanted to do. And I had my fingertips on it and it was just taken away from me. And there's nothing I could do about it. That's just what happens in life. And there's this saying that when one door closes, another door opens. That's not what happens. That door slams in your face and you get hurt really badly because you have invested everything you have in that dream and it's taken away from you. But you have to keep on going and you have to realize, all those cliches, it's true. I mean, God has a bigger plan for you. It's just a matter of figuring out what that is. And it's a matter of not quitting until you've achieved that. And that's always evolving too. I mean, if you'd asked me when I got to the WWE, when I actually started having success as the character Kane in 1997, would I be sitting across from you as the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee? No way. But here I am. So you never know what life is going to give you. But if you quit at any point along the way and you don't think, if you're not where you want to be and you don't think that there's something better for you,
there's nothing better for you.
There's nothing better for you.
Yeah.
But if you keep going and you keep trying, and life's going to knock you down, it's like Rocky Balboa said, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you get hit. and keep going forward.
Wow.
And that's really true. And those things, again, it's cliche, but it's true. And my own life is proof of it.
You're on fire, bro. Last question. You really are. Last question. I came to a cookout you had. You were running for office, I think. And I came to a cookout.
I wanted to discuss with you running for office was what it was.
Yeah, we were just talking about it.
That's right.
So you invited me to a cookout, and you had made these burgers. Good gracious alive. I mean, I love a good burger. I have no idea. He said, you should have a burger. I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, I have a burger. I had a burger. And then I had a second burger, and I started on a third burger. What did you put in those burgers?
It was just the seasoning, which is actually I can't give away my secrets, but you can get it pretty much anywhere. I think the key is just the flame grill part of it. And I'm a burger connoisseur too, man.
Well,
but there's nothing like a home
So
cooked
I don't
burger.
get the recipe, but I will. If you're having a cookout anytime, would you please call me?
Yeah, of course.
Mayor Glenn Jacobs on Anything Is Possible. Thank you for not quitting, and thank you for leading our community, and thank you for being on Anything Is Possible.
Thank you, Haller. It's been my pleasure. I appreciate it.